Come one, come all, gather around and hear the sounds of women's TV. Good day. This is such a wonderful day to be at Women's TV. And I'm particularly excited today because we have the lovely Miss Lisa Cohn, who is the president and CEO of Living Water for Women. It's a transitional house, but before we really get into the nuts and bolts of the living quarters for women, I would like for Lisa to tell us a little bit about herself and about 12 years ago when she became a volunteer, which led her on the path that she's on now. Lisa, what can you tell us about your journey?
Well, first I want to thank you for having me. It's a privilege. 12 years ago, a woman came to my church asking if I would speak at Nassau County Jail at the DART program. And I went there. I said, I'll try anything once. I went there and told my story, because even though I did not have an addiction background per se, I'm a product of the 60s and did my share of partying. So I went and sat in a group of 30 women, told my story, and expected them to boo me out of there thinking I'm this prissy little white woman that has no problems. But they loved me, and they asked me to come back. And my friend asked me to come back repeatedly, and then asked me to commit to doing that Friday meeting. And I've been going ever since for 12 years.
Wow, that is exciting. I love your commitment. I met you about 4 years ago, and I could feel just from your spirit that you were a wonderful person. And I know that you're making a positive contribution to the lives of these young women. So what happened later on, about 5 years ago? Could you tell us about that? That's also fascinating.
Okay. Well, after going week after week, I would see some of the women come back again and again, some of them with the best laid plans. And it surprised me, and it was disheartening. And I thought perhaps if they weren't living in the same location or with the same abusive husband or parent or the person who's still doing drugs or drinking in their midst, it would help. And so I got the idea of a transitional home and felt that someone was going to ask me, what are my credentials? Can't be just going to the school of life. So I went back to college and got my degree in human service management, which helped me learn more about addictions and the prison system and the fact that 90% of women that are in jail with drug and alcohol issues are there because of abuse. That's the core issue here, and that's what has to be tackled.
Right, abuse in women, that is not a new subject. Is that something that just pricks your heart, or do you have other interests also?
Well, it disturbs me, because no matter what a woman does, any abuse to her, I believe, is never her fault. And I wanted to do something about it. And I felt that the women are treated like scum of the earth very often in jail. And yes, they're there to be punished, but if they're not rehabilitated, we're guaranteeing that they're going to come back again and again, and they will never get outside of the system and become productive members of society. And that's our goal, but the jails and the prison system is not doing it.
So rehabilitation does not happen in the system?
Not at all.
Wow. I'm going to email that to Cohn and to President Obama. I have a picture of you sitting on the porch of a house that you have purchased, and with your own funds, I understand. And you purchased the home, and I see you sitting here on the stoop. And tell me about this location. Tell me about what it means to women who are being transitioned out of the jail system, and what it means to you personally.
Well, It's been my life. 2 years ago, I sold a business I had with my husband for 30 years. We inherited some money and loaned it to Living Water for Women to buy these houses outright so there would be no mortgage. Now, these houses were rooming houses for years, filled with addicts and alcoholics. So I felt that the city of Glen Cove would not mind me putting women getting out of jail there, whereas in other neighborhoods they would. And it's taken a year of renovations, of a lot of hard work. A lot of volunteers came to the rescue. A lot of local places donated carpet, tile, lumber, you name it, to totally renovate these places and make them a home for women, not just a boarding house. That's the goal, for it to be a home. And there's 2 houses side by side so that we can house 13 women total. And they can come together each evening as a family and eat dinner together.
I've seen your kitchen. It is awesome. It is awesome. And you want all of the women to sit and eat together and become a family at dinner time. Is that something that's pretty difficult to accomplish, or you think they're excited and looking forward to being with their fellow sisters?
I'm sure they're not going to like it. I'm sure we'll have issues because some women can cook, some can't. But we're going to have 2 women a night cooking dinner, cooking meals with a lot of donated food. And I don't think it's too much to ask for once a day for them to come together as a family. And then we have a living room, a group living room right off the kitchen where we'll have meetings and hopefully work out the issues, as women will have issues with one another. It's inevitable.
Well, I think that the cooking part is great. Now, in our home, my husband and I, we share the cooking. So if I went in as a person who doesn't cook that much, would I still be welcomed?
Well, we'll pair you with someone who can cook.
That's
the goal.
That's women thinking.
And I have a local restaurant that volunteered to come cook and bring meals, and I said, no, Janine, I don't want you cooking. Come there and teach them how to cook, because we want the change to be everlasting. We don't want to give them a free ticket and make life easy. They need to learn skills for life, and cooking is one of them. And nutrition goes along with that as well.
While this is not necessarily a religious program, I understand that you have a working spiritual component to your program. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I really believe that because for me, I recognize that God changed me, removed the shame, and really helped me put aside my lifestyle from the past. We are going to incorporate 12-step meetings, Bible studies. They're going to attend church. I've got volunteers on a list that want to be mentors to these women because they need that lifestyle change. It's so much more than just putting down drugs and alcohol. That will never do it. Unless the lying, the stealing, the cheating, the backbiting, the complaining, unless all of those things are dealt with, they will go back to the lifestyle that they've known for years.
I also understand that you are a not-for-profit organization. Does that mean that you accept contributions from community or donations, or how is your website, or is it set up to accommodate this kind of?
People can donate right online financially. We are a nonprofit, fully recognized by the federal government, so every deduction is tax deductible. We also accept in-kind donations, and that could be clothing, books, bedding, underwear, furniture, all those things. We give receipts for all of them.
No, that's wonderful. And I think I mentioned before, but we will also list your website on our website, which is PohnInspirations.com. And we're featuring a lot of the things that we're doing on Women's TV at that website also. Now, I noticed that you have a vision statement. Could you tell us a little bit about your vision statement?
Well, as I said, from me being at the jail for 12 years and seeing these women come back, more than anything else, we want to house women getting out of jail or prison, because our goal is to get them back on their feet and give them a future, to give them the training and all the skills they need to become successful citizens in life, to give back to society and not to continue taking.
Well, that is fascinating. But just tell me this, how would a woman qualify to be in your program? How would she qualify?
Well, because I'm in the jail twice weekly now, and I have 2 other volunteers with me, we sort of get to know these women. And we have an application that's about 12 pages long. There is a list of rules for the house that's 35 rules long. They have to agree to follow all of them. And I've been telling them for 2 years that it's not just a common sober house where they can come and go as they please and just be drug tested and expect to do what they want. There are rules, there is structure, there's outpatient required. They have to attend meetings, they have to attend house meetings, and learn to get along with one another as a family.
Now, are these just single women, or are there accommodations for children? Or tell me a little bit about that.
Well, at this point in time, because of so many regulations and so much red tape, we can't accommodate children. They will be visiting. Saturday is visiting day. They're welcome to have their children come and spend the entire day on Saturday. And we intend to, after a client is there for a month, if they're following the rules, they might get approved for an overnight pass to go stay, depending on where they're going. And if we've met the people that they're going to be hanging out with. It's important.
Wow. That sounds like you're doing a comprehensive package, not just come and give you a place to live, but you're also addressing the spiritual needs, and you're looking at the family. I'm just wondering, what do you see as your long-term goal? What is your strategic plan? Where do you want to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself going with these women? Because if you've got no place to go, any road will take you there. Well, I've heard that said.
It's true. I would really like to see more homes like this established. The news, the newspapers has been full of pictures and of horrible places, and I've visited many of them, and they're not fit for women. They're not fit for men, but they're certainly not fit for women. And if we hope to rehabilitate these women, it starts not just in jail, but more so on the outside to provide a place. So I've been, for years, looking at a house here, and taking bits and pieces, the things that I think personally will work. Do I know for certain that it will be a success? No. We'll probably change the rules and the way the house runs 10 times over easily. But I believe that we're starting on the right place. We're gradually learning what works and what doesn't work. We're starting out small. And if it works, I'm willing to share it with anyone who's willing to listen, to duplicate it. I'm all for it.
To duplicate it. Just in here in Long Island, or are you looking nationwide or worldwide, or?
Well, actually, I think there are, believe it or not, as savvy as we New Yorkers think we are, there are programs like this throughout the country, in Texas, in Tennessee, down in Florida, okay? Some of the ideas that I've taken have come from places there. In New York, it's much harder to do it here. And part of it, I believe, is because of the low level of support from social services and the lack of funding. It really makes it difficult. The high rents, the taxes, the rules and regulations that we have to follow, it just makes it harder to do anything in New York, but certainly a program like this.
Well, I've certainly enjoyed hearing about this, but I was particularly moved when you said that you invested your own money. Now, that's very interesting, because to start a not-for-profit, you usually go out and you have fundraisers and you get everybody, or you even take a loan. If the bank likes you, they'll give you a few $100,000. But you decided to spend your own money and create a loan-free not-for-profit. Was that a difficult decision for you? Because I know you could have bought some shoes with that money. I know how you love shoes, girlfriend. I know that, so I know a little bit about you. 1,000 pair of shoes I'll buy with this money. So how did you shift your thinking to accommodate women that you don't even know?
This was really an act of faith. I felt called to do this. And I honestly don't believe that anyone can continue in this field unless you're called, because the rewards are few. Yes, I hope to be a success, but I know it won't be 100%. I'm aiming for 80 at the most. And yet, I took a risk. I took a risk. We inherited some money, and I plunked it down and lent it to the nonprofit with the stipulation that in 10 years I'll get paid back unless we don't need it, which I may, I don't know. But it was a risk, and I knew I needed to do this. I wanted to leave behind a legacy, more than just things in my house to leave to my children.
That's wonderful. Now, you mentioned your children. Are your children participants, or what role does your family, your immediate family, play in this not-for-profit venture?
Well, my son is out in Arizona. He's helped us set up the computers. He's been really helpful there. My daughter lives locally, but my husband, I give him a lot of credit. He's stood by me, and he's done electrical work. He's fixed sinks. You name it, he can fix almost anything. And if he hadn't been supportive, trust me, there was no way that I could do this, because he would rather be out sailing right now. But he's willing to let me do this.
Wow, this is exciting. There's a song that I really like, and it's a group of 4 young women are singing, and they says, "My man is a mighty, mighty, mighty good man." Sounds like you have a mighty, mighty good man. Lisa, have you been together a long time, or are you recent married?
39 years.
39 years. That's awesome. That's awesome.
It will be 40 in January. So, and the initial journey that we took cross country, where we both got change, was together. And so he's been part of this every step of the way, and he's all for it. And I'm really grateful for that.
Wow, that is awesome. What else can you tell us? Are you tearing up
Yes,
over there?
yes.
All right, let's see if we have any tissues on the screen. But anyway, on the set, I'm just wondering, as you go forward, how do you feel about the direction of these women? Are you tracking them or tracing them, or how are you doing follow-up with the women in the program?
I stay in touch with them. I'm very grateful. I got a phone call yesterday from a young woman that we took in my personal house 10 years ago. She got out of Teen Challenge, had nowhere to go, and she came and lived with me for a year and a half. And I'm happy to say she is a missionary to this day. She travels around the world. She's been to Mozambique and Thailand to help women in the sex trade. And at the time, her own family would not take her in. They didn't trust that she was going to stay off the drugs. So there aren't a whole lot of successes yet, but I'm thankful for the ones that I have, and the women do stay in touch. I call them, and they stay in touch. They're very grateful, and it means a lot to me. It really does.
Wow. I love to hear a good story, so perhaps you'll think about documenting some of their stories for us. Or do you have any particularly interesting success stories that you could share? You don't have to use the name of the person.
I do actually. One of the first women that I met in the jail was there for 3.5 years, which nowadays is unheard of. And I really...
What do you mean by that? Could you tell me?
Well, because typically if they're in jail and they're sentenced, they're sent upstate. She was there on a federal charge. They were considering deporting her back to Colombia. And so because of not knowing what to do with her, she was there 3.5 years. And when she got out, she was almost deported. She got several jobs. I'm happy to say that it was over a year ago she contacted me, and I encouraged her to go back to school. She went back to Empire, which I went through, which is independent study, while working 50 hours a week, full-time, and finished her degree in 1 year.
Wow. That's awesome.
So this woman is amazing, and her life was turned around. And she's been clean, I guess it was 12 years ago, so it's 12 years now.
So I see that the education component in here is awesome, because you said you went back to school. Was that a difficult decision for you at this time and place in your life? Was that difficult? Or?
I took a risk. They sent me emails. They said books free for the first 2 classes. Initially I went to University of Phoenix online and figured I could do my work at midnight if I had to. And I found that I loved it. But what especially got to me was when I transferred to Empire and the ability to study what I wanted to. And so I studied the history of women's prisons, I studied women's writings. I'm doing a writing workshop with the women as well at the jail and hope to one day put together a book, because the writings are awesome and it gives us a glimpse into their hearts to see where they're really at.
You actually shared a poem with me, and some poems that were written by the persons that are living in the transitional home. And I was totally and absolutely amazed by the quality of writing that I experienced. And I understand that you will be able to make those available on the website also.
Certainly.
And so we're looking forward to hearing a lot more about what you're doing. We're actually thinking it would be a good topic to write a book about, having your journey documented in the form of a book. But we also want to say, as trained rationally motive behavior therapists, that we will make therapy sessions available to your clients who are interested starting in January, and the location and information will be posted on our website at www.cohninspirations.com. And we love what you're doing. And it seems that when the time is right, the calling appears, and somehow we're always able to answer the call. And I cannot imagine what the lives of those young women would be like without you in their lives. I'm sure that they really appreciate you, and I'm sure that they appreciate what you're doing. And as I was thinking about the show, I was saying the theme of this show is a few good women doing great things. So the things that you are doing are great. What would you like to say imparting to the audience, or to the persons that are perhaps in the program who may be listening today? What would you like to say in the next minute or so?
Just that, to go with your heart. We all have so many gifts and talents, and we may think we're unworthy and incapable of fulfilling those things, but it starts small. I remember hearing a story of a woman in Suffolk County who died 2 years ago but had a huge ministry. And she started simply by feeding the homeless. She took one loaf of bread and made bologna sandwiches and gave them out. And then she grew to feeding 70,000 people a day. So start small. We're all able to help if we choose to.
I noticed that you repeatedly mentioned your husband who fixes up the plumbing, which you say is not that great at, but he seems to somehow get everything to work. Being the electrician, being what you said, you called him your handyman. So would you say that it's better when you team up with a partner or a person? Or do you think that a woman on her own could accomplish quite a bit if she just starts out, like the woman in Nassau?
Well, I think we all start out alone, and I believe that God knows when we're hitting that low point and he sends someone alongside of us, because we're always stronger. It's a stronger bond where there are two or three. Because let's face it, we all grow weary. As women, we're emotional, but we're all very good at influencing the people around us. And so that's what we do best.
Yes,
bring those people on.
That is absolutely true. Now, as we think about the future, I think we have a pretty good picture of where you'll be going, and that you'll be continuing on the journey that you're on, and that you'll be bringing people alongside of you, and that you will be continuing with your consultation or speaking with them and encouraging them, and also adding that spiritual component, which I think is so important. And I can see success. I see success written all over your face, girlfriend. So I would like to say many blessings to you, and I know that God will continue to bless you, as she always does. I love what you're doing, and I'm glad that you are one of the few good women who have decided to take on the challenge and doing what it is that they are called to do. I think that there are women in our audience right now who would now begin their journey just from what they've heard you say. You started out with just a thought that was in your mind, and you took that thought and you started to do what you could do. Now, you didn't know you were going to get an inheritance, but you knew with what you had, you were willing to start. And I think I've heard it said that a journey of 1,000 miles begin with one step, and you made that one step. And I am really proud of you, Linda. I can say for a fact that your journey will be continued in a more accelerated pace. And I know that our audience wants to contribute to you, so they'll be looking for you at Living Water for Women. And the president is none other than Lisa Cohn. So check out her website, and if you want to make donations, there are places there for you to donate. And also know that you can get all of the information from www.poninspirations.com. So, Lisa, as you leave here today, know that we are with you. We are with you 1,000%. We are with you in all that you do. So continue to go in grace and grow in grace, and may the peace of our Lord be with you. Amen. Thank you so much, Lisa. God bless you.
Thank you.
Come one, come all, gather around and hear the sounds of Women's TV.